Something for everyone is found right here on thepowerofvoices.com.
Hey, this is Greg Bell from the Rams Sports and Life on thepowerofvoices.com. Join me every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday as I'll be talking Rams, sports, and life. And you never know who's going to join me on the show. So make sure you check out Rams, sports, and life on thepowerofvoices.com.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
It's not your grandmother's talk radio, but she is welcome to listen. Thepowerofvoices.com.
All right. Time to get up, Granny. Time to get up, Granny. And I mean right now. Welcome to the Lee Michaels Show. I am Lee Michaels. We are live on the Power of Voices. It is Friday. And what that means is very simple. It's open mic, open phones, and you are in control of the conversation. All right? Are you ready? Let's fire it up. The number to call to be a part of the show is 424-227-9461. Write it down and pass it around to all your friends. And in order for us to get this show up and running the right way, I need you to share the show with all of your friends, okay? Whoever's following you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms that you use, Tumblr, I don't care what it is, share it. Share the power of voices. Let's spread the word. All right, y'all ready to get started? I know I am. I can't wait. You know what? I don't sleep well at night because I'm constantly thinking about what I'm going to say and do on the next show. That's how committed I am. You know? How about you? Do you have anything in your life that you get that excited about? If not, I feel sorry for you. Because that's the way life should be. You should be fired up, lit, and ready to go all the time. That's our new jam you hear in the background. It's my little theme for the show. That's produced by an incredible musician who happens to be a dear friend of mine, a good talk show host, an artist. He wrote, arranged, and produced and played all of the instruments. I'm talking about Andre Michaels. Kind of jazzy, but funky. Kind of a funk jazz kind of thing. I love it. Yeah, that'll get your blood going, huh? Get your mind focused and all of that. That's what it's all about. You got to get your day started the right way. And sometimes it's a song. Sometimes it's some words of inspiration, a telephone call from a friend or family member, loved one to kind of get you going, you know? So put those things in your life. You got to have that. 424-227-9461 is the number to call in to be a part of the show. In the news this morning, the big part of what's going on right now, the big news is attorney Loretta Lynch is under fire because of a meeting that she had with former President Bill Clinton. And I think, of course, the guys on the other side are going to try to make this a big deal because she had a meeting with Bill Clinton. And there's many things that they could have been talking about. Wouldn't have to necessarily be about the investigation that's going on against his wife. And she made it very clear that the process, the investigation that's going on right now, she's not directly involved with. While she is in charge of the entire investigation system, she's the top attorney, right? But in this particular situation, to add that layer of protection, if you will, for herself and to be fair so that no one can say, well, her influence was applied to the investigation and may help Hillary in some fashion. So a special investigation department within the Attorney General's domain, if you will, is in charge of this investigation, not Loretta Lynch herself. And I have some interview that was done with Attorney Loretta Lynch. I don't know why I have trouble saying her name. So we're going to listen to that, and I think she clears it up as to how the process is actually working. So let's listen to this audio clip.
Well, I think that's the question of the day, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think that's a perfectly reasonable question. I think that's the question that is called, by what happened in Phoenix, because people have also wondered and raised questions about my role in the ultimate resolution of matters involving the investigation into the State Department emails. And to the extent that people have questions about that, about my role in that, certainly my meeting with him raises questions and concerns. And so, believe me, I completely get that question. And I think it is the question of the day. But I think the issue is, again, what is my role in how that matter is going to be resolved? And so let me be clear on how that is going to be resolved. I've gotten that question a lot also over time, and we usually don't go into those deliberations, but I do think it's important that people see what that process is like. As I've always indicated, the matter is being handled by career agents and investigators with the Department of Justice. They've had it since the beginning. They are independent.
Which predates your tenure as Attorney General.
It predates my tenure as Attorney General. It is the same team, and they are acting independently. They follow the law. They follow the facts. That team will make findings. That is to say, they will come up with a chronology of what happened, the factual scenario. They will make recommendations as to how to resolve what those facts lead to. The recommendations will be reviewed by career supervisors in the Department of Justice and in the FBI, and by the FBI director. And then, as is the common process, they present it to me, and I fully expect to accept their recommendations.
There you go. That's how it works, folks. A special team that's been a part of the department even before she was made the Attorney General is in charge of the investigation. They will determine the outcome. Without her influence, and this is not the first time this kind of an investigation has gone on, where the top attorney steps away from it and allows a special group of investigators to handle the case. To be fair. Now, Republicans are going to try to make this a big whoop-de-doo, but there's no story there. There's nothing to talk about. Okay? So they need to let that go. The other thing that I find interesting is the Republicans came out with this phone book, their findings in the investigation into the Benghazi situation and emails and everything else. And there was nothing there that said Go to jail, go directly to jail, do not pass go. None of that. Nothing came out of their own bias investigation. So what's there to talk about? What's the big whoop-de-doo? That's what I want to know. You're on a witch hunt. Doesn't it look that way? I mean, listen. I believe politics has gone to a new low. It began 8 years ago, to be clear. But now they're just like in a submarine going, dive, dive, dive. Let's go lower, lower, lower. I mean, how low do you want to go? Let's forget about all this bovine, and let's deal with the issues, the real issues. We want to talk about employment. We want to talk about immigration issues. We want to talk about a new infrastructure plan to get people back to work. We want to talk about our trade deals, how to bring some jobs back home if possible. I don't think it is. Because once you let those jobs go, I don't know how you're going to convince the American workers to work for the same kind of slave wages that they're able to get in some of these third world countries. I don't know how you're going to do that. Now, the only way that's going to happen is clear. You bring those jobs back home, you're going to have to pay American workers a higher wage, and the product or service that's being provided is going to be more expensive. I don't know about you. I don't make all the money in the world. I'm an average guy like most of the people here in America. But my American pride says to me, employ American people. Let's take care of us first. Americans. I don't care if you're fat, skinny, tall, unattractive in somebody's eye. If you are American, I'm with you. I'm for you. We need to think about us, Americans, before we worry about anybody else. Because if we're not whole, if we're not strong, if we're not focused, if we don't have our act together, how can we help somebody else? It seems to me I remember my grandmother, and maybe it was my mom and dad as well, saying, charity begins at home. Let's take care of us first, then we can take care of others. Let's make sure we're healthy. Our healthcare system is not the best. We've got the pharmaceutical industry that controls Congress, control the doctors, the insurance companies. All these people are working in cahoots and not always necessarily in the best interests of the patients. I don't know about you, but I have a problem with that. When I go to a doctor and I'm sitting in his or her office, I want to know that they're on my side. Does that make sense? I want to know that they're working in my best interest. Not theirs, not the pharmaceutical promotion person sitting out in the lobby waiting to see that doctor. I don't want that doctor to hurry up and rush me out of his or her office so that he can go spend time with this promoter. I want to call them drug pushers. You've seen them. Men and women hanging out in the lobby. They got a little buggy on wheels full of medicines, little samples. They're promoting their medication to the doctors to get them to write a prescription for their drug versus their competition. Because you got cholesterol drugs, you got 2 or 3 or maybe 4 or 5 different manufacturers of that same kind of medication. They all do basically the same thing. Some work better than others. Some people have allergic reactions to some and some don't. But they all want a bigger market share. So they'll wine and dine and market and promote to these doctors to get them to write prescriptions for their drugs. Same thing in the music business. When I was a program director, on Monday or Tuesdays, depending on the station, it was music day, it was record day. And all the record labels would come and promote their products to the program director and music director. And then we would listen to their product and decide what we were going to play. So it was a competitive thing among all of these record promoters to get at least one of their records played every week. But in most cases, there may only been one slot available. There may be one song I'm going to drop, which means if I want to keep a specific rotation of music playing on my station, I wasn't going to add 5 or 6 songs every week. It's impossible. So if it was one of those weeks, and some weeks I didn't add anything. Music was coming too fast, and I wanted to slow it down and give the songs that we were playing an opportunity to get exposure so they can run through the life of whatever they're going to have. And I remember several times record promotion people would say, hey, man, how many slots you got open this week? Because some of these guys are coming in with 15, 20 songs, new records every week. They may come in with, say, 10 songs this Monday, and I might not pick any of theirs. So they're going to come back next Monday with those same 10 and maybe 2 or 3 more that have been added to their new release schedule. So now this person might have 12 or 13 songs. And again, they may not get an ad that week. But they come back every week trying to get an ad. So in the pharmaceutical world, the same process is happening. They want to get their drugs written in on prescriptions more often than not. So it's all about what we call in the business top of mind awareness. Think about my drug first. When Lee Michaels comes in there and he's got high cholesterol, write the prescription for my drug. It's that simple. That simple. I'm not making this up. It's just the way it works. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday. When you go in for cancer treatment, and 9 times out of 10, the recommendation is, well, you're going to need chemotherapy. And chemo, that drug, that whole process is either the only or one of the few where doctors actually get paid to prescribe. They ain't going to talk about it, but there have been a couple of doctors that have come out in public to expose this process. And chemotherapy works only about 3% of the time. 97% of the time, it does not work. That's a very high failure rate. 97%. Why would you prescribe that? Because doctors make between $4,000 and $5,000 every treatment. I want that to marinate a little bit. After the insurance company pays the bill, there's a $4,000 or $5,000 spread between what the drug actually costs and what the insurance company is willing to pay. They'll bill the insurance company, I'll just use a figure, $11,000 for a treatment. The insurance company will probably pay $9,000. The drug costs $5,000, so there's a $4,000 margin of profit to the doctor. for writing the prescription. Damn. Hey, listen, I'm for people making money. I'm a capitalist like everybody else. But if it does not work 97% of the time, whose side is the doctor on? Or should I say, what's in your wallet? I mean, really? So those kind of things really concern me. They really do. I'm very concerned. I thought about that all day yesterday and have been thinking about it for about a week now since I found out about this horrific process. That's just wrong. Okay, how you slice it and dice it is wrong. That's not in the best interest of most of the people who go through chemo. 97% of the time, it does not work. I cannot believe there's no cure for cancer. But why would the drug industry, even the insurance industry, because they profit off of these horrific diseases. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the business. So there's a group of people that are making a lot of money to keep you sick. Most of the medications are not cures, they're Band-Aids. They make you feel a little better. Sometimes they make you feel worse. Because all of it is a form of poison. You're sitting there taking 8, 10, 12 different medications. Most of it is not prolonging your life in the right way. Most of it will have an impact on your liver or kidneys. Why do so many people die from liver and kidney failure? Because of the medications. Think about it. I've heard doctors say that. You're not going to die because of the pain that you're feeling. The medicine that I'm going to give you is going to mask that pain, but the medicine is going to shorten your life. You will not die from the pain. You will die from liver or kidney failure. Now, you know what? That was a very honest doctor that said that. I respect him for that, for being transparent. But what's the alternative? Learn to live with the pain or seek some other natural cures, if you will, or ways to have relief from these horrific pains that people suffer from back injuries, neck injuries, leg injuries, hip injuries, knee, all of that. All of that. See, the human body is like I equate it to a computer network. You got routers, you got a bunch of cables, you got a switch, you got the CPU, the main server. That's your brain. That's in charge of your nervous system. So all these wires and different devices that are connected to your brain, when some of these things break down, you have permanent nerve damage. That means that the wire is broken. There's no connectivity going from the brain to whatever part of this part of your body that's affected or having the pain. So if you got a pain in your leg, in your knee, let's say, well, there's a central system in the lumbar that kind of helps the message get up to the brain. Okay, so if you have a what do you call them? A disc problem in your lumbar area, your lower back, and there's several different L1, L2, L3, L4, and all of that. I mean, I got rear-ended in a car accident. So through that process, I learned a lot about it. And my wife went through 10 or 12 different surgeries in neck and back injuries from a train accident. So I know a lot about it. So what I'm telling you and sharing with you is not just some bovine or some pie in the sky. It's from experience. I'm not a doctor, but I know what I've experienced. And the reality, folks, is always ask more questions of your doctor. Don't walk out of that room saying, well, they're the expert. Well, they are. They went to school to treat you. But make them work harder for you. If you don't, who is? Don't assume that their first recommendation is the only solution. Ask questions like, what alternatives do I have? If I don't want to take this medicine, what else can I do? What else is available? Are there any natural alternative, treatments? Listen, I had a high cholesterol problem. It was almost 300. I think it was 300, maybe 300 and change. And the first thing the doctor says, well, you need to get on this cholesterol medicine. So, like a dumbass, I did. But there were side effects to it, and I didn't like those side effects, so I stopped taking it. I told the doctor, I'm not taking this crap no more. And he says, well, that's your choice. You can do what you want to do. And I went further. I said, well, what alternatives do I have? He says, well, as I told you, exercise, change your diet, blah, 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 and that might work. And guess what, folks? That was in 2003, I believe. 2003, maybe 2004 at the latest. And I haven't been on that medication since. And my cholesterol is fine. Changed my diet. I don't exercise the way I should. I walk more often now than I have in a long time. But I've changed my diet. Got off all the fried stuff. Every now and then I'll sneak a little fried chicken in. But I limit my intake of red meat. I eat a lot more vegetables and fruit. I drink a ton of water. As you can see, there's always a bottle of water with me at all times. And I may go through 4 or 5 of these a day. Okay? So I'm medicine free. I don't take any medications. There are days when I have a little ache and pain in my back or, my neck and stuff like that. I don't even take an aspirin for those things. I learned to live with it. I figure the less poison you put into your body, the better. I want to be around for a long time. I want to help people become better broadcasters. I want to make sure there's an opportunity for new people coming into this business to have an opportunity. If I can spend some time with them, you have my undivided attention. I was on a little broadcast on a new system called YouNow.com, testing it out yesterday. And 2 young people joined me in a conversation, like a video chat. And they had questions about voiceover work, what kind of equipment they needed. One guy's in school down in Tampa. And I forget what the other person was. No, he was up in Northern California, north of the Bay Area. And they were inquisitive. And I spent over an hour with them, sharing my experiences and giving them some advice as to what they should do, what they could do, what their options were. So, that's what I do. I try to help people. And I want to live a long time so I can continue to do that, because there are people 51 years ago that spent time with me, and I want to pay that back. I want to carry it on, pass it on. I was talking to a friend of mine, Armando Rivera, who lives in the Chicago area, radio guy. I hired him, I think it was in 1981 or 82, from El Paso, Texas. We was on the phone last night till about 2:30 in the morning talking. And he shared with me some of the things and the struggles that he went through while he moved from Texas and living in Chicago. He was a part-time air personality at WBMX during that time. And he shared with me some experiences that he had during that time. And he never shared those experiences with me when it was going on. And I wish he had. Because, I'm a compassionate person. I don't want to see people go through struggles and hard times. If I can do anything to help them, I will. And I said to him, I said, Mondo, why didn't you say something to me, man? Because, you didn't have to live that way. He was on a limited budget. He was only doing one show a week, and he was living in this little place and didn't have a refrigerator in it. And, he went through some tough times. But you know what? He was a survivor. He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He figured out a way to make it work. And I admired that of him, about him. He's a great guy, and he's done some great radio in several different markets: San Francisco, Chicago, El Paso, Detroit. And this guy is sitting on the beach right now trying to find a radio job again. And that's painful to me because they're qualified people, highly qualified people, and can't get a damn job in an industry that they love so much. That's tragic. And I'm sure it's not just that way in the broadcast industry, it's in other industries as well. The technology, medicine. I mean, I'm sure it's a common problem, but it's really bad in our industry. And I'm hoping that we can continue to grow as an internet broadcast entity and all of the independent broadcast companies online now. Make this thing work so that we can get these people back to making some money. And one of the things that we have to get the radio personalities that are used to I call it the old school way of making money, we need to change the mindset and start looking at, as opposed to being an employee, think about ownership, owning your own show, owning your own network, owning your own. So when those big dollars start rolling in, you get the lion's share of it as opposed to a piece of it. I submit to you, if you're a radio personality anywhere in America right now, if you're making $40,000 a year, $100,000, whatever you're making, and you're doing a 3-hour or 4-hour show, the amount of money that your show is generating is tenfold over what they're paying you. So I ask you this question. What side of that dotted line do you want to be on? The small side or the big side? Start thinking that way. Because as long as you're willing to stay down here, that's where you're going to be until you die. Taking a little piece, crumbs off the table, as opposed to getting the big piece of the pie. And I know this to be true through my own experiences and through experiences that I've had with all the people that I've worked with. When you hear these big salaries that some of the entertainment people are making, whether it's sports, whether it's music business, radio, television, it doesn't matter. When you hear, this guy's making $10 million a year. If they're making $10 million a year, that company is probably making $100 million or $150 million off of that show. Maybe more. That's the way the numbers work. Any time they're paying somebody $10 million, it's not like, okay, we're going to give you the majority of the money that's generated on the show. It doesn't work that way. They're not in the business of doing it that way. Come on. Think about it. Think about it. I did a deal for $2.5 million, a 2-year guaranteed contract. By me coming back to that radio station, the owner sold the station for $27.5 million. He made $25 million because he was able to bring me back, and I was able to bring that equity or value back to the radio station when the station was only worth, based on the cash flow, $17 million. You see how the numbers work? You've got to understand how business works. And you have to decide what side of the line do you want to be on? The nickels and dimes or on the big side where all the real gain lies? So I want you guys to think about that. And I'm using the music and radio business as an example because it's easy for me to do that. I'm talking from real life experience. So whatever industry, business that you're in, the same principles apply. So prepare yourself for ownership. If you're tired of, making a little bit of money, and I'm not suggesting you need to go out and start a car manufacturer plant or anything like that. You can start out small. Most people have at least one great idea. My daughter, Sarah, calls me all the time. Dad, I got a good idea. Okay, what is it, hon? And she'll run it down to me and say, that is a great idea. Or she'll show me a product that she just paid $10 for. I said, Dad, why didn't we think of this? I don't know. Guess we were sleeping at the wheel, but that is a great little product. And, sometimes it's the little things, the little simple things that we ignore, but we buy them. You go, damn, this is a great idea. Why didn't I think of this? The little things she showed me when I was in Texas last weekend, Father's Day weekend. This little plastic bag, and there was a bunch of balloons in it. And apparently you hook this device to your faucet, and you fill up these balloons, water balloons, at like 10 at a time. And I went, yeah, that is a great idea. Why didn't we think of that? How many times did you fill up a water balloon for your kids or grandkids? And you had to do one at a time. If I remember correctly, this thing does like 10 at one time. Boom. See, something as simple as that. And it's selling for $9.99. And I guarantee that whole package, the packaging, the printing, and the balloons, and the little device that hooks, it's probably not $2 worth of materials there. It's being made in China or somewhere, in a foreign country. So sometimes a little idea is worth millions and millions of dollars. So don't discount the little ideas because they could be very, very valuable. All right, I'm going to take a break. We'll come back. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Hillary Clinton situation with the mail. And I really don't want to talk about it because it's nonsense. I will be surprised, and not because of any skullduggery or any shenanigans in the back room going down, but I would be surprised if Hillary Clinton is indicted on any kind of problems, whether it's Benghazi or this mail server conversation, because that's all it is. If you have no evidence that the mail server was hacked, if there was no information leaked out to any third-party source, then what the hell are we talking about?
Who says you can't have fun and learn at the same time? ThePowerOfVoices.com.
Hey, it's Josefa Salinas, your host of Check Out This Book, where each week we talk with different authors or independent filmmakers about their projects. Wouldn't you love to know about a book before you download it or buy it? What was the reason that the author didn't write that next book in the series? Or why did the character have to die? Or in that independent film, what really was the motivation? Come on and join me on Check Out This Book and find out what everybody's talking about.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
June 19th is World Sickle Cell Day, and September is Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month. Sickle cell disease is a genetic red blood cell disease affecting over 100,000 people who are not only African Americans, but also Hispanic Americans and those from Africa, the Mediterranean, South America, Arab, and Southeast Asian countries. Sickle cell disease is painful, and there's no universal cure. You can telephone Cayenne Wellness Center at 818-940-0079. That's 818-940-0079. Or go to www.cayennewellness.org. That's CAYENNEWELLNESS.org for information on the 8th Annual Sickle Cell Disease Educational Seminar on September 9th and 10th, held at Charles Drew University in Los Angeles. Thank you.
You asked for it, and we listened. Welcome to thepowerofvoices.com.
Welcome back to the Lee Michaels Show. We're live on the Power of Voices. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And as I always ask you to share the broadcast with your friends and fans so we can get the message out to more people as we grow the powerofvoices.com. You can check out our website, thepowerofvoices.com. We've got a lot of great shows that you don't want to miss. Good stuff. I mean, really, really great shows. We got The Basement, with some young college guys sit around and talk about sports and life and nightclub music. You know, what 20-year-olds talk about. That kind of thing. Then we got Tween Talk. We got some young ladies, future ladies of America. They're like 8, 10, 12 years old. They're talking about what they do, what's going on in their lives. And they're incredible. They're little messages that make me go, wow, that was from an 8-year-old, 9-year-old. They're amazing. We got the Fat Girls World, plus size models, talking about what's going on in that world. We got Full Bodied Frequency. Laura Rice is the host. She's out of Chicago. And you don't have to be in LA. You can be anywhere to have a show on this incredible network. So check out all of these great shows and more. Go to thepowerofvoices.com if you're happening to be listening to us on YouTube or Stream Up or on Facebook. Go check out the website. Some incredible shows. You'll get a lot of information, stuff that you just don't hear anywhere else. Thepowerofvoices.com. I'm here Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. It's the Lee Michaels Show. Easy for me to say. And today is Open Mic, Open Phone Friday, where you talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can control the message, the conversation, if you will. Not me. I'm always have something to talk about, but I want to know what you want to talk about. So give us a call. If you're watching us on one of our video streams, you'll see it right there at the bottom of the screen. The phone number is there, 424-227-9461. 424-227-9461. And that number doesn't change. It's the same every day. So you can write it down and pass it around. And click on the share button right now. If you're on Facebook, right below the little video screen here, you'll see like. Likes are fine. I don't mind you doing that. And I also like comments. But when you share it, that's more powerful than a like. A like lets me know, okay, my boy came by. He said it was cool. He liked it. That's great. But if you share it, what you're doing then is broadcasting that link to all the people that are following you. Now, to be clear on that, Facebook has its own little algorithm. So when you share something or you make a post and you have 5,000 people following you, not all 5,000 will see that post or share, but a percentage of your 5,000. When Facebook first came out, everybody that was following you got your message. But they changed that shortly thereafter when it became real popular and everything, because the way Facebook makes money is they sell ads. So if they continue to let you share your message to everybody that's following you, then what's the point of buying the ads? So that is why. They might not say it or articulate it in that form, but that is it. That is the underlying reason. They're in the advertising business. So you can create a post and then you can advertise it for $5, $10, whatever budget you want to put into it. And they'll advertise it beyond your followers. They'll probably start with your followers initially and then spread it to people that are not following you. It's like a little ad. You've seen them over on the right-hand side. That's what that's about. So, but you can do a free share for us and for yourself. Get your friends to share your stuff. You share our stuff. We'll share your stuff. And we get more people. It's that simple. And you don't have to pay somebody to utilize that little information that I just shared with you. So as I'm sharing information with you, how to grow your social media platform, that's how it works. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr, Pinterest, all of them. So that's my little technology speak for today. And you know what? I try to avoid going into those little conversations because I could do 10 hours on that. And I don't want people to sit there looking at the computer going, what the hell is Lee talking about? That's just TMI, too much information for me. So I try to keep it simple and give you little tidbits from time to time that might help you. Okay? All right. So getting back to Hillary Clinton and Loretta Lynch and the whole political stuff. Before I get to that, I got to hit Donald Trump in the head. Did you guys see this? He was out on the campaign trail and he was speaking and he was trying to give some props to Mexico. And he was talking about how intelligent they are and they're smart and they're this and that. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he was saying because he's said so many negative things about the Mexican government, the Mexican people, this damn wall, all of this crap, right? So there was a plane going over, and he made reference to there may be some Mexicans up there that, you know, will cause harm to us. And even the people behind him, you know, when they're out there on stage, they got these people behind. And by the way, those people are not right up on them. They may be 15, 20, 30 feet behind. But the optics of the camera, it makes it look like they're right behind them. They're not. So if you've ever been to one of those speeches, you know what I'm talking about. But even the look on their faces, some of them were trying to laugh like it was a joke. But it was like, damn, what are you saying? What the fuck, huh? I mean, damn, Donald, shut the fuck up. So I'm going, what is he thinking? Now, listen, folks. If he keeps doing stuff like that, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the American voting public, the voters, talking to you. You got to look at this guy with a serious eye and say, nah, that's not the kind of president I want to have out there talking to the people and around the world. And no. Come on, America. Y'all got to wake up. You really want a loose cannon as the president of the United States? They talk about that 3 a.m. call to every president. What is he or she going to say? when you get that 3MA call and it's one of those disasters, is the cool head going to prevail or a trigger-happy nutball whack job? Think about that. Is he going to submit good candidates for the Supreme Court? Would he pick the right person to be the new chairman of the Federal Reserve? Will he pick the right people to be a part of his cabinet? Because if you got a jackass cabinet, guess what? Your administration is not going to work. If you surround yourself people with agendas that are not in the best interest of the people, that's not good. Look at the George W. Bush cabinet. Most people think that Cheney was actually running the country, not George Bush. He was making the calls. He was coming up with the policies because that was Herbert Walker Bush's boy. Most of the people that were in GW's cabinet were Papa's old cabinet and henchmen. All of his cowboy friends. You see how it works? So anyway, Wolf Blitzer from CNN had a conversation with Hillary. And Wolf usually don't pull any punches. He'll ask tough questions. The Wolf man. Funky Wolf man. He likes hip hop. He's a crazy guy. But anyway, he had a conversation with Hillary, and he gave her some pointed questions. And let's take a listen to that conversation.
Let me ask you about the intelligence community's inspector general, who states that the emails on your private server contained what he describes as classified intelligence. One of your campaign spokesmen says the inspector general is not, quote, acting in good faith. Do you think they are not acting in good faith, the IG of the intelligence community?
Well, all I can say is this, Wolf. I think it's a continuation of an interagency dispute that has been going on, and that's not uncommon in our government when it comes to releasing information, as I requested that mine be released. And it doesn't change the fact that I never sent or received any material marked classified. I do believe that these leaks, which are coming out and being in some way misrepresenting and mischaracterizing what is going on are troubling. But the basic fact that no material marked as classified was sent or received by me has not been changed.
Are they falsifying information?
I hope not. I really hope not. I don't have any information to that effect. I want this to be resolved, and as the State Department has said repeatedly, I will repeat, I did not send or receive classified material. And this latest example, the best I can determine, may turn on whether or not someone forwarded a New York Times article in the public domain. So there are a lot of unanswered questions that I would like to see resolved.
I think that's pretty clear. Now, if Hillary is not telling the truth, that will come out in the wash. But I think she's smarter than the average bear and would not go on television, being interviewed on CNN or any other network, and just make a bold-faced statement that's not true. Of course, Donald Trump will try to put spin on that, as he normally does. But at this point, I have no reason to think that she's not telling the truth. I think she wants to be the president of the United States, and she knows if she tells a lie and get caught in it, that's like one of those Tomahawk missiles coming in on you. You ain't going to survive that. So at this point, I don't think that she would put that much on the line in self-defeat. That would be self-defeat to tell a lie about something like that, because ultimately it's going to come out. When this investigation is over, the Department of Justice and the FBI and all the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts of America looking up her colon, they're going to find the truth. And it will be reported. And the reason I say this is because I believe that America is not ready for a major shenanigan cover-up or some skullduggery that's not going to be in the best interest of this country. I don't think we're going to. I really have more faith in us than that. And I know there's some skeptics out there that'll say, Lee, you being naive. You're showing your underbelly. What rock have you just crawled from up under? I hear you. And that's cool. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And if you think I'm wrong, you can call in and show me where I'm wrong. Based on my life experience, I don't think so. I really don't. This is too important. We're at a very critical point in our growth in this country. We're about to turn another corner. Let me just tell you this, share this with you. Okay, President Barack Obama is about to complete his second term. That's 8 years. If Hillary Clinton wins and she does a good job in the first 4, unless she decides to retire, she's 68 now, right? So she'll be 72 at the end of her first term. And if she goes for another 4, and she's successful in getting reelected, she's 76. Now, I'm not saying that's old or too old or anything like that, but let's just assume that she wins for a second. I'll do the same scenario over with Donald. He's already 70-something, right? So that will mean 16 years under Democratic control and power in a row. I see no reason, if the 8 years under the leadership of Hillary Clinton, why would it not continue if the economy continues to grow, the stock market is on fire, people are able to buy homes and cars and do the things that they want to do. There's more peace in America and around the world. People are making more money. The tax situation is better. The immigration thing is better. Life is better all the way around. Why would it change after Hillary's 8 years? Or 4 years, if she decides not to run? Then depending on, here's the crucial point here. Depending on who she picks as the VP, could extend that life again. Now, I'm trying to remember, someone made a statement. I don't know if it was, it wasn't Dukakis. What's it? God, I can't think of his name now. But when Obama won, he said there will not be another Republican president for at least 20 years. And I thought about that. I went, how could he make that claim? And then I thought about it, and I thought about it some more, and I did my little Lee Michaels scenario projection, and I saw what he was saying. I said, damn, he's right. If Obama can pull this off, and he has, against the Republicans who have done very little to work with this man, if he can pull it off, and he did, I said, yeah, that would be the beginning. That's the first 8. You get the second 8, that's 16. All you need is 4 more. So I agree, and I see the possibility of at least 20 to 24 years of Democratic leadership in the White House. Now, the key, again, and I keep telling you this every damn day because I want to drill this into your mindset, that the House and the Senate, collectively, it's called Congress, is the trick, okay? So you know what Obama's been going through for the past almost 8 years. The Republicans keep saying no. Now, I think that a Democratic or Republican president, a Democratic or Republican-controlled House and Senate can be a good thing if everybody's working in the best interest of the people. Because our system, unfortunately, doesn't work when it's not a control situation on one side. Now, that can be dangerous because if the Democratic Party gets control of the Senate and the House and the White House, and they start doing some stupid stuff that's not in the best interest of the people, then it's wrong. If it flips the other way and it's a controlled White House, Senate, and the House of Representatives, all Republicans, and they work truly in the best interest of the people, I don't have a problem with that. If all parties involved kept the focus on the people, not their interpretation or their slanted view, but what the people are saying through their vote. So if the people decide in this next election that they want a Republican president and they want a Republican House and Senate, then damn it, do your job. Don't disrupt and kill everything that's good because you didn't come up with it, because the guys on the other side of the aisle were smarter than you and they worked in the best interest of the people. Don't go in and destroy Obamacare because Obama came up with the idea and you didn't, but you had your chances. You had Ronald Reagan, you had George Bush, you had Papa Bush. You had, enough years to bring it in yourself. Why didn't you do it? You talked about it. You flipped it around, but you didn't do it. And President Barack Obama at least got it done. Clinton didn't do it. Carter didn't do it. Reagan didn't do it. The Bushes didn't do it. Nobody did it in my lifetime. Kennedy, Nixon, Ford, Johnson, they all had an opportunity to do it. Nobody did, but Obama. So don't be mad. Don't roadblock. Roll with it. Think about the people. 20 million people now have insurance. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not free. But 20 million more now have coverage. And it would have been more affordable if the states and Congress hadn't put the loopholes in it to allow the insurance companies to raise their rates after the first 2 years. But that was the only way they were willing to pass it, because they were bought and paid for by the damn insurance companies. So let's understand how this works. And that's the way it works. But you need to stop working that way. And if you have a senator or House of Representative that's up for re-election and their report card in your point of view, from your point of view, is not working for you, vote the bums out. Just vote them out. Get somebody new. But don't just bring in another knucklehead. Do your due diligence and vote for the person, and regardless of the party. If you are a registered Republican and the Republican senator or House of Representative in your area is not doing a good job, if their report card is not good, then look at the Republican and or Democrat that's running in your district and take a hard look at them. And if the Democrat makes more damn sense, then vote for him. If the Republican makes more sense, then vote for that person. But don't keep putting the same knucklehead back in the seat, going there, back to D.C. year after year, term after term, and doing nothing or doing stuff that doesn't make sense. People like Mitch McConnell, career politicians, get rid of all of those guys. Get rid of all the career politicians. Let them go. Unless they've got a good record, what's the point? If they're just sitting up there blowing hot air, vote the bums out. Was that a doorbell? What the hell was that? Boom. Oh, I know what that was. That was the bell that says boom. Great idea, Lee. Perfect timing wherever it came from. It was one of those boongs. Yeah, the light bulb went off. The gong. Good idea. Vote them out. That's how you do that. But you hold the power in your hands because you're the voter. In other words, you're going to hire someone. Your vote says, yes, I vote to hire this person to represent me. That's what your vote means. So you have to respect your vote in that light. Go in there with that in mind. When you go into that poll, understand what you're about to do. All right. Now, as this email thing continues to debate, there's a controversy on one particular piece of email. And I'll try to set this up here so it's simple. There was a conversation between Hillary and one of her people that work with her, an assistant of some sort, and they were trying to send Hillary a secured fax. Who in the hell uses faxes anymore? I just thought about that. Do you still fax? I don't know when I've faxed. I can't think. I don't know. If it is a document I have to sign, if somebody emails me like a PDF file and I need to sign it, I'll scan it and email it back to them. I'll sign it, scan it, send it back. Fax? Are you kidding me? But anyway, I won't belabor the point on faxing, but how cryptic and it's kind of like troglodyte, right? So this one particular email, they were having trouble sending it through the system in a secured form, through the secured fax machine. So Hillary sent a message back, says, okay, take out the header, take out the encryption and all that, and basically send it to me electronically. So now the Republicans is taking this as, oh, damn, she sent some classified information unsecured. Well, in this particular email, apparently, it wasn't classified information. It was talking points, which is going to be public anyway. So what's the big deal? All right, so I'm going to play this clip, and then we'll come back and chop it up on the other side. Now, I want you guys to get involved in this conversation because I'm interested in knowing what you're saying. 424-227-9461. So let's listen to this it's a little debate between a Democratic pundit and a Republican on an interview. I think it was on CNN. Here we go. No, we're not. Okay, here we go.
Let me make this clear. The Democrats don't care. The people who vote in Democratic primaries trust Hillary Clinton by 2-1. This is not a huge problem for her among Democrats. Do they trust Bernie Sanders a little bit more? Maybe. I just spoke with a senior Sanders advisor. I asked him, are you going to raise those damn emails? Is that going to become an issue for you? He said no. So Sanders is not going to take her on it. In a general, should she become the nominee? Absolutely. Does it give Republicans who are running now an opportunity to talk about how she's going to get indicted and all the rest? Of course. Is this an awkward moment? You bet. But Democratic primary goers don't really care.
Okay, so they're saying that the Democratic voters don't care about all this mess, okay? All right, so here's another clip about the emails. Here we go.
Of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
And I think that's a perfectly reasonable question. I think that's the question that is called, by what happened in Phoenix, because people have also wondered and raised questions about my role in the
wait a
ultimate
minute. That's
resolution
Loretta
of
Lynch.
matters.
That's the wrong clip. I'm sorry. Somehow we got it mislabeled. But I'll find that clip for you and play it for you in just a few minutes. But here's the thing. On this particular email in question, the Republicans and Donald Trump and all of his cronies are trying to make a big stink about it. But this one particular email that they were trying to send by way of a secured fax, they couldn't get it to work for some technical problems. Maybe it was user error, or we don't know. So Hillary gave an instruction to send it through email, but removing the headers. It's some technical stuff, and it's not that important. But the particular email in question, again, were just talking points for her to use, written by someone or whatever, and they were trying to get that information to her. So that in itself is not a big deal. It's not a criminal act. It's not a breach of security, national security, because this information that was being transmitted was going to be made public in one of her speeches or whatever. So it's a non-issue. But again, the Republicans want to try to make, lemonade out of lemons. And it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply. It's meaningless. They have nothing. Show me something that's criminal. Show me a breakdown in that China or Russia or whoever tapped into her server and got some classified information, and national security is at risk. Show me that. Then I'll say, okay, Hillary, you got problems. But that hasn't been made available. That hasn't been known yet. The investigation is still going. It could come out. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. But people like Trump, making claims that the server was hacked and information was, passed on to, foreign countries and all of that. He has no proof of that. Remember when he was saying she was a liar and she did this and she did that? Well, there's no facts to prove his claims. None. Zero. Nada. The FBI, the CIA, the Boy Scouts of America, nobody's come up with any facts to prove that the mail server was actually hacked. And information that is classified are now in the hands of people who shouldn't have it. Have you read anything to that effect other than a political claim? Noise? Distractions? Okay, I'll go as far as saying lies. Because if it's not true and you're making that claim, that's a lie. Right? Okay. It's like the plane is flying over while Donald Trump is doing a speech, and he says, could be some Mexicans up there, want to do us some harm. I'm offended on behalf of any Latino, any Mexican, from that statement. It's un-American. It's not funny. It's shameful for any American to make a a statement like that. It's just wrong. It's about as dumb and insensitive as these two jackasses down in the McHenry, Illinois, that own a gun shop, a father and son, that's auctioning off an AR-15 rifle, and the proceeds from that is to go to the victims in Orlando. How insensitive. How self-serving. That's what you call self-serving. You're going to use this, create a promotion to get your little jackass gun shop nationally, internationally known, raffling off a rifle that was either the same type of rifle or very similar to what was used in the killings in this bar down in Orlando. The mother of one of the young men that was killed in Colorado at the theater, you remember that one? He was a military man. Young man in the military, Navy, if I remember correctly. His mom spoke out on this. She said, how insensitive for this gun shop to auction off a weapon like this to benefit the victims who were killed by a weapon like this. Even if it wasn't a similar or the same type of weapon, how insensitive. That's just wrong. How can people be so damn stupid? Now, if they genuinely wanted to help the victims financially, write a check. Send it to them. I'm sure there must be a GoFundMe or something. Somebody must be doing something to help the victims' families and the people that were wounded. The people that are dead, there's nothing we can do for them ever. But their family members, maybe they need help for burial. You know, to bury somebody nowadays is minimum $7,000 to $8,000. Okay, so you auction off this rifle. What do you think they could get? The rifle costs maybe $2,000 loaded, with all the bells and whistles on it. So, what? 10 grand? 15 grand? Let's go high. Let's go 20. So $20,000 to the victims. And there was 49 killed. So there are 49 families and 52 or 53 injured. $20,000 is a drop in the bucket to spread out over that number of people. It's nothing. So the idea of auctioning off a gun, unless you're going to, who's going to pay $1 million, $2, $3, $5 million for a gun? It's like the jackass George Zimmerman. Didn't he put his gun up for sale that he shot young Trayvon with? Yeah, I didn't follow that story because it was so repulsive and disturbing to me. I said, I'm not even going to, I think I mentioned it once or twice. And I'm not even going to dignify that thing. That was so repulsive. What are people thinking about now? Where are you, America? Where are you, world? What's wrong? Why do you do stuff like this? With all the problems that we have, these kind of ideas you think are good? Not at all. Not at all. So I hope that not only people not bid on this rifle from the gun owners in McHenry, Illinois, which is northwest of Chicago. I looked it up on the map. And it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, kind of rural. That's typically where you'd find gun shops like this. Rural areas. Major cities too, but rural areas, a lot of them. Nobody's paying attention to how things are rolling, And they sell guns to their friends and neighbors, and it's no problem, man. I got you. Come on down here and get one of these guns. Come on down here, partner. Get one of these guns. You got to protect yourself. You know, one of them coyotes might run across your land. You know? One of them coyotes. Might get a bear coming across there. Come across your fence. Trying to eat your chickens. Let me stop. So this is why I be complaining about my little impressions. I don't care. If you don't like my jokes, go find some new ones. That's how I roll. Yeah. Looking at some of the comments. All right, so Loretta Lynch is under fire from the Republicans, saying that she did some skullduggery by meeting with Bill Clinton while in Phoenix. See, you can make up anything you want. You can say, well, I saw Lee at a restaurant talking with some people from iHeartMedia, and Lee may be going to work for them. Or he's giving them some information that he shouldn't be giving them because he works for another company. You see? Yeah, there's a relationship between attorney Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton because he appointed her not in the role that she's in now, but her previous job, if I remember correctly. But does that mean? What does that mean? I've hired and fired hundreds of people in this business. But they don't owe me any special favors or treatment. Out of respect, we've kept in touch over the years. And if I can help them in some way, okay, call me up and I'll call them if I need some help. I don't have the answer to something. Those are called relationships. It doesn't mean that it's polluted or nasty or mean spirit or some skullduggery or some deal cutting. But it's easy in politics to make that claim. But because you make that claim, doesn't mean it's factual. I'm going to build a wall. It's going to be a beautiful wall. It's going to be a great wall. It's going to be a big wall. Because I said so. And you're going to love it. And the Mexicans are going to love it. What are you, stupid? Oh, Lord have mercy. Help me. Help me. 424-227-9461. I feel like beating up on Spy Boy today. Where is he? He didn't call. Did he call yesterday? No, he didn't call yesterday. I think he's mad at me because I hung up on him. Spy Boy is one of my hecklers. He lives down in New Orleans. And he has followed me on every network I've been on. He just pops up. Hey, Lee. Hi there. Who's this? Spy Boy. Oh, God. How'd you find me? But he's one of these weird thinkers, if you have not heard, and you can hear him on some of our previous shows. He's kind of extreme. I'll be nice. He's extreme. He's out there on the edge, all by himself most of the time. He's one of these guys that that has this idea that black people are bad, and he happens to be African American. You know, that we're lazy and, you know, always looking for something free and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, he's one of those guys. And I like debating with him. He's 99.9% of the time wrong. off base, has no clue, but he's entertaining. So I don't mind him calling in. I give him a little platform because I know he must not have any friends. And I think he works at Burger King. The one day I was talking to him a few years ago, and he may have been making the order or somebody else was making the order, and that's how I deducted that he was working at Burger King. So he had me on hold. He said, wait a minute, hang on a second. It was an exchange. I want a Whopper with fries and cheese and all that. I said, so we at Burger King? He goes, yeah. I said, you work at Burger King? Well, he didn't want to answer that. So I think that at the time, at least, I think that's where he was. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with Burger King. It's honest, good job. Just don't pay enough. But it's a good job. I'm not making fun of anybody that works at a Burger King or a fast food place because it's a good job. Somebody's got to do it. But anyway, Spy Boy is, I don't know his real name. He'll never tell me his real name, but he goes by Spy Boy. And I can't remember. I think I've asked him, why do you call yourself Spy Boy? And I can't remember his answer. It's probably off the wall. Did make sense, so I didn't retain it. Either that or I'm beginning to get senile. Y'all better watch out. When I start losing my mind, I'm still going to be on the air. I'm going to show up every day and do a show crazy as hell. That's going to be the name of the show. Crazy as Hell with your host, Lee Michaels. And I'll be real crazy. I can't wait. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this audio. I talked about it earlier. Crazy as Hell with your host, Lee Michaels. Not that clip. Sometimes I surprise myself. Okay, so I'm going to play this clip about this doctor that was being interviewed. And I have it posted here on my Facebook page. This thing has been played 17,230,317 times. So it's beginning to spread. And well, it's already gone viral. But I want you to hear this conversation. It was an interview with this doctor, and he's talking about why doctors prescribe chemotherapy when it does not work. Listen to me carefully if you didn't hear this earlier. It does not work 97% of the time. So let's listen to this.
Various types out there. What are some of the things that you've seen in terms of your patients, and what some of the things that you've been able to do?
A better thing to talk about in relationship to, well, I will talk about that, right? A better thing to talk about, however, is the relationship between profits and cancer in the United States. There was a study that was published, I believe it was in 1994. It was a 12-year program, 12-year study. They looked at adults who had developed cancer as an adult, not childhood cancer, but adult cancer, right? And this is the main types of cancer that we get here in the United States. They did a meta-analysis of these people all around the world who developed cancer as adults for 12 years and were treated with chemo. And they looked at the results. And they published the results in the Journal of Clinical Oncology. And the results? 97% of the time, chemotherapy does not work. 97% of the time it doesn't work. So why is it still used? It's one reason and one reason only: money. If you go to a medical doctor, an MD, with a sinus infection, and that doctor prescribes an antibiotic, he gets no financial kickback. Now, if he prescribes 5,000, of that antibiotic in 1 month. The drug company that makes it might send him to Cancun for a conference, right? But he gets no direct remuneration. It's not with chemotherapeutic drugs, it's different. Chemotherapeutic drugs are the only classification of drugs that the prescribing doctor gets a direct cut of. So if your doctor prescribes chemotherapy for you, here's how it goes, more or less. The doctor buys it from the pharmaceutical company for $5,000, sells it to the patient for $12,000, insurance pays $9,000, and the doctor pockets the $4,000 difference. And there ought to be a law. The only reason chemotherapy is used is because doctors make money from it. Period. It doesn't work 97% of the time. If Ford Motor Company made an automobile that exploded 97% of the time, would they still be in business? No. This is the tip of the iceberg of the control that the pharmaceutical industry has on us. Most people have no idea of this at all. Now, I wrote a book. It's called The MD Emperor Has No Clothes, right? In my book, I have a bulleted list of 10 questions that every cancer patient should ask their doctor. 10 questions. I've had patients kicked out, literally, kicked out of the oncologist's office because the doctor was PO'd that the patient was asking him these questions. And these are just common sense questions. Cancer treatment in the United States, we have lost the war on cancer. We have lost the war on cancer. Why? Because cancer is not a reductionistic phenomenon. Cancer is a holistic phenomenon. And when you try to bring a reductionistic methodology like drugs and surgery to bear on a holistic phenomenon, you will completely miss the boat each and every time. You cannot do it. Medical doctors are like colorblind art critics. They can see that that's a boat. They can see the black and white outline, but they're completely blind to all of the colors and textures that make up the substance of the thing. It's no difference with cancer. The reason that people get cancer in the United States and the reason that we have completely lousy outcomes is because medical doctors are driving the research bus. When women get together and do a 5K run for breast cancer, all of that money, do you think any of that money goes to nutritional research? Do you think any of that money goes to homeopathic research or acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine or naturopathic research? No. All of it goes to drugs and surgery, which do not work. Now, why aren't those women running for selenium? If every girl in this country took 200 micrograms of selenium, in one generation we'd eliminate breast cancer by 82%. That's a big number. Why aren't we doing that? Because medicine in the United States is a for-profit industry, and most people are completely unaware of this, and most people bow down to the altar of MD-directed high-tech medicine at their own demise.
Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? This is a doctor spilling his guts about how it really works. That's deep. You see why I keep telling you to ask questions of your medical professional? And don't be afraid. You have a responsibility to ask the right questions. So if you have cancer, understand that when they say, okay, you need to have chemo, that the odds are not in your favor. 97% of the time, it does not work. Wow. Why do they prescribe? He told you why. I'm not making this up. You heard him say it. The pharmaceuticals do not want you to be healthy. They do not want you to have access to a cure for cancer or any other disease. They don't want it because they make too much damn money just keeping you barely alive. They know that the medicines that they prescribe will break down your liver and kidneys, will cause further hard work on your heart, and eventually your organs break down and you die. That's deep. It's scary. You know, I have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. And I pray all the time that this world will change so that they have a fighting chance to have access to good health care, good education, an opportunity to make a decent living so they can have a decent life. I don't care too much about, for me, really, I'm not a selfish person or self-centered. I worry about other people. I just want to be around long enough to help more people. So when I run across information that I think is valuable and be helpful to other people, I try to pass it on. And that is the first reason I come in here and do this. Yeah, it's fun. I like to have a little fun as well. But the real reason is to help other people to realize their dreams. For some reason, I feel like that's my purpose now. And all the years that I've been running around the country doing radio and having fun and having success and all of that, it was good. It's been great. It's been a great ride. But I now realize I can do more. And that's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing. I posted on my Facebook page a few days ago, on the 29th. It's a screenshot of from MSNBC. No, NBC News. It's a Wall Street presidential election poll based on registered voters. And I thought it was kind of interesting and surprising, but in some cases not so surprising. And they broke it down by African Americans, Latinos, 18 to 34 demographic, and women. Hillary versus the Carnival Barker. Among African Americans, 87% favor Hillary, 5% for Donald Trump. Now, on that particular statistic, based on, I don't know what their methodology was for the survey, but I'm trying to read the thing down here. Looks like the poll was taken between June 15th and the 22nd. And a 3% margin of error. Yeah. All right, so that was the time frame. But what I find interesting is what I've been saying all along. I don't think Donald Trump is going to get much of the African American vote because I just don't think that most people who are African American believe him. So I was having a debate with the show that comes on before me, which is called Tammy's Take. And she's a Republican. She's an African American. She's a true African. She was born in Africa, Kenya. And she was brought over here to the United States by some white missionaries, and she was raised by them. And I occasionally go on her show and heckle her and try to get her to think differently, but she's not going to change. But they're making the claim, the assertion that Donald Trump is going to get 30 to 35% of the black vote. I don't believe that. I don't see any evidence that that percentage of black folks are going to get behind this guy. And then their evidence is, well, go on YouTube and you can see there's black women on there and black people. Yeah, you're going to get among that 5%. That's who they are. Just because you see some people on YouTube does not represent 35% of the black folks. People don't get that. Now, this one was a little surprising. I didn't think that there would be that many Latinos in favor of Donald Trump either. But among Latinos, 69% are in favor of Hillary, 22% for Donald Trump. I was a little surprised at that one. The 22 is a little high, at least in my judgment. Among 18 to 34. Now, I've said from day one, when this presidential campaign started, that is the key demo, 18 to 34. Whoever gets the largest share of the 18 to 34-year-olds will become the next president of the United States. And here's why. President Barack Obama dominated in that demographic. He brought a lot of them to the table. So the first term, second term, and some people are calling this the third term of President Barack Obama. Whether that's true or not, it's neither here nor there. But the fact is, if you do not get that demographic, 18 to 34, engaged in this election process, the old hat wins. So Hillary is doing a pretty good job, not as strong as I think that she needs to be, but 53% of the 18 to 34 favor Hillary, 30% with Donald Trump. I think in order for her to truly nail this election, she needs to get that more in the 65% range. She's at 53 right now. Among women, 52% say Hillary, 35% say Donald Trump. Women, 35% for Donald Trump. I'm a little surprised at that because he's offended, as far as I'm concerned, every woman in the country and maybe the world. He's chauvinistic. He's offensive. And I can't believe that 35% of the voting women even favor this clown. That one is a little surprising to me. I don't think that's going to hold. I really don't. Now, Hillary, hear me, Hillary. You're going to have to defeat yourself. You're going to have to start making some stupid statements like Donald. You're going to have to get off message. You're going to let him rattle your cage for you to lose this campaign. Stay on message. Talk about the things that we, the people, are interested in. And you will be in the White House. I don't think Donald Trump at this point can do very much, even if he spent all of his money advertising and marketing his campaign. There's no reason that I see why this man deserves to be the president of the United States. I really don't. I think he's made a whole mockery and being a clown and a buffoon. He does not uphold the image of being a president. He's not presidential. He's not. If you look at every president in your lifetime, how does this guy compare to any of them? I don't care if it's Democrats or Republicans. It doesn't matter. There's a certain style, image, swagger, if you will, that you must adhere to. And in my lifetime, President Barack Obama has probably been the coolest, hippest president since Kennedy. He's got a little swag to his walk. He's funny. He's probably the one that's most outside of the box. But this guy, Donald Trump, is so far out there. Whew, I don't know how you can reel him back in. He's blown off his original campaign manager. What was that all about? I think they had a difference of opinion. I think this campaign manager probably said, hey, man, enough of the buffoonery. Let's get on the teleprompter and get this message out here. I don't think he's capable of doing that. He's a loose cannon. And I do not want to see this guy sitting in the Oval Office having access to that phone to the other world leaders and get into an argument and get some real crazy stuff going on. I'm not trying to be paranoid, but I'm just being concerned and thinking clearly. Because if he displays this type of actions in public, what kind of jackrabbit is he in that Oval Office? I don't know. I don't want to take that chance. I'd rather go with what I know, with people who I know that's been in the environment, that knows how it works. And yeah, I'll say this. Initially, I was thinking Bernie. Now I know y'all getting ready to call me a socialist and all that name calling stuff. But it's not about that. If you know anything about me, I'm about the people. Not about freeloaders, people trying to take the advantage of the system. There's always going to be that problem out there. That's clear. But whether it's the Social Security system, whether it's other welfare, if you want to use that terminology, systems that help people who are in need. Yes, there are people on the system or in the system that take the advantage of it that should not be on it. So it's incumbent upon the social programs to clean that up. You don't need to throw the system out. You need to get the people out of it that's abusing it. But the concept, the idea is not bad. We just, again, like Obamacare, we need to tweak it. Not delete it, tweak it. There's a big difference in those two words. So we need to fix stuff. We don't need to become suicide bombers and blow stuff up because you want to make a political statement, because somebody else came up with an idea that was better than your no idea. So all you want to do is push back on it. That's un-American. You'll hear me say that often because we have to become more American. If we're going to be self-centered on being American. Now, I have friends that look like me, black folks, that say, Lee, you need to get off that American thing. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. And if you don't believe in being American, then why are you here? I have no problem with the United States of America. This is my land. Born and raised, I respect it. I love it. Don't want to be nowhere else. And if somebody tells me to leave this country because I have a difference of opinion than theirs, we might have to fight. It might be time to go to the OK Corral. Because there's nothing you can do or say to run me up out of here. Not going to happen. There's no reason for me to leave. None. Zero. I deserve to be here. Because down my family tree, there were people who were brought here against their will, and they had to make sacrifices They fought your wars. Lives were lost, blood was shedded. So I deserve to be here. It's like many other people. And I'm not saying that you don't deserve to be here or anyone. And I have love, respect, and I admire the natives of this country. I do. They did nothing wrong. They were here first. Unfortunately, they didn't have muskets, cannons, fire bombs, and hand grenades to defend their country. Unfortunately. And I hear those echoes from some people out there saying, well, get over it, Lee. That was then. This is not now. No, I'm not getting over it. It's truth. It's history. Why can't we talk about history? There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay when you want to talk about your history, but when I talk about my history and my fellow brethren once called the Redskins, not in a positive light, when I want to show honor and respect to them, then I need to get over it. No, I don't need to get over it. I need to talk about it. I need to acknowledge it. When other groups of people talk about their suffering and sorrows and hardship, it's okay. So I don't believe in double standards. I believe in we're all the same. We all live here in the United States of America. We have to learn to coexist, work together, and continue to grow this country. Not make America better again, but to continue to build America to be stronger and stronger. Because overall, we're not weak. What we're not is together. And we need to come together, work with one common cause and goal, and that's for all of us. Not for the rich, not for the poor, not for the middle class, for all of us. There's a common ground that we must find and meet there. And as intelligent as we are, why are we ignoring the solutions to our problems? Want to talk about taxes? What are my thoughts on that? Should the wealthy pay more? Should the poor pay none? Should the middle class pay less? That's basically the argument or the discussion. What I think is there's a happy medium in there somewhere. If you're poor, how in the hell can you pay anything? Let's eliminate that category of poor people. Let's figure out how to get them out of the poor category. Is that through better education? Fix our educational system? Make it more affordable? Make it free to people who cannot afford it? Because there's some smart people. And we hear these stories over and over again. People being homeless and getting on the honor roll in school against all the odds, living with different people from house to house, but excelling in school. That's hard. That's not easy. Why do we have to make it hard? We're smarter than that. We're a great country. We're a great nation. We need to work on those things. So there are a lot of other people out there that are smart, living in adverse situations, homeless, that may not have the will, the strength, the ability to overcome the adversities, the hurdles that are in front of them, but they're smart. They want to learn. They want to participate in the educational system. But so many days they don't have the clothes to wear to go to school because other kids get on them about being not clean, or you wore the same clothes yesterday and the day before. That makes it hard. And if you've never been there, you don't understand. You don't get it. You can say, oh, well, too bad. It ain't for everybody. And I got to tell you, man, I hate those conversations that I have with people who think that way. It's wrong. It's un-American. It's insensitive. It's mean. It's nasty. But you know what? And I don't hope this on anybody. But sometimes you have to experience that to understand how difficult it is. How tough it is to survive when you don't have anything. Or they're just lazy. They're just this. They're just that. No, man. When your mother dies, your father's MIA or dead or in jail, you become a victim. You've been put in a situation where you had no control over, didn't ask for it. You're just a child. And some people just turn their heads on that. And some of those people that are living in those situations could be an outstanding, successful citizen and maybe the president of the United States one day. Who had ever thought a man by the name of Barack Hussein Obama, whose father was an African from Kenya, his mother was a white female American, would be the president of the United States? If you had asked me this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have said, probably not in my lifetime, but I pray that it would happen. That someday America would become blind to race, color, religious beliefs, and any other things that would make it impossible for a red-blooded American to be what he or she wants to be. That's what I would have said. But when I met this man named Barack Obama in Illinois when he was running for the U.S. Senate, and I was the chairman of the Democratic Party in my county, after I followed him around for a few days, I saw people embracing his ideas and concepts, and he was regurgitating what was happening in the world. I said, oh my God, this man is running to be a U.S. Senator, but he's looking very presidential. And I said that to Barack. I said, man, you're looking very presidential out there. He goes, no, I'm not even thinking about that. He says, I've got to win this. I said, you're going to win this, and you're going to win big. He won it by 85%. So don't give up hope. Keep dreaming. Stay focused. Be American. Till Monday, thank you so much for listening. And don't forget to share the show with your friends and followers on social media, all the social media platforms. Hit the share button. Let other people know about thepowerofvoices.com. I'll see you on the radio Monday at 10 a.m. on thepowerofvoices.com. Have a safe weekend. God bless.
Who has the power? Find out on thepowerofvoices.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Simone.
And this is Tiara, and we're the host of A Fat Girl's World here on thepowerofvoices.com.
Make sure you tune in on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 4 p.m.
Yes, and we literally talk about everything. Typically, women things,
women things, but we get personal.
We get personal.
Super real.
So if you guys like real, here's the place to be.
At A Fat Girl's World at thepowerofvoices.com.